Hey everybody, welcome back to the Balanced Vibes podcast. I am your host, Kirsten. Today we're going to talk about why it is so important that you stay away from anything extreme when it comes to your diet, because there's a lot of extreme stuff out there that is just not good for your health, especially if you practice these methods, these extreme ways of eating for a longer period of time. So just a couple of episodes ago, I talked about why it's so important to approach your health and fitness goals with lots of patience and staying calm and relaxed and avoiding extremes. So I kind of want to expand on this topic a little bit more today because, like I said, these extreme diets are very, very popular. They are everywhere. And so many women that I work with have this background. They have been trying one diet after another. It's like they have been dieting 10 years sometimes or even more. And all they get is frustration because this stuff is not working anymore. Even if it did at first, it's just not working anymore because things are getting harder. The more we diet, your metabolism, in a sense, gets weaker. It definitely gets more stressed. And in addition to that, if we are in our mid or late 40s or beyond, our bodies are anyways a little bit more stressed out because the cortisol is naturally higher, then these diets just stop working. Now, that doesn't mean that you cannot achieve your health and fitness goals and weight loss and fat loss goals even. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that your approach needs to be different. And so this is a little bit what I talked about in episode 244. I'm going to continue that a bit today. But before, I kind of want to tell you a little bit about one of my clients' experience. And this is really all to show how much time it actually can take and how much patience it actually can take to transform your body and start getting very, very noticeable, very, very significant results. So I'm going to share her experience in a second. But before that, I want to invite you to join my Fit and Fuel Facebook group. If you're not there yet, it's a fantastic group. And this is where I am most sort of social media right now, not Instagram. I haven't missed it a whole lot, to be honest. It started kind of taking a toll on me being there so much, so I'm still staying away at least for a little while. So I really invite you to join my Fit and Fuel Facebook group, or at least come follow me, my personal page, Kirsten Kimura. You'll find me there. And it's a fun community in the Fit and Fuel Facebook group. I just recently did a challenge there. The winner won $500. So maybe there's more good stuff coming like that. Who knows? I'm sure I will do the same thing sometime soon. But in the meantime, there's lots of free content. There's so much free stuff there. I'm doing live videos all the time. I am giving a lot of information away because my goal is really to help women to understand that these health and fitness goals that they have are achievable and nothing needs to be extreme as you are going through this process. So now I want to read you what this client sent me. So she sent me a couple of text messages. And one of them was like this: we are coming home from church right now, and I'm wearing a cute romper that I never, that's in caps, never would have worn last year, and definitely not the year before, when I was absolutely in hiding with my clothes all summer. So hiding in her clothes all summer, even not thinking about wearing anything, that romper in particular, but anything that's like more shows the body or whatever, because she felt so uncomfortable. But now she is wearing it. And then the other message that she sent me a couple of days later was, I'll send you more in a bit, but I had to say, I just put on my swimsuit for the first time and the bottoms literally fell off. So this is awesome. This is really a sign of great progress. And it has taken her time. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her background and where she was when we started and where she is now. Well, you kind of saw that already where she's now, but I want to show you that it has taken time. And I don't want to hide this from anybody. I'm not being like, hey, in 3 months, you're going to be like, super jacked and super shredded if you are currently, 30 pounds overweight. I'm just going to not tell you that. I won't tell you that because this is a lie. Like, things don't happen so fast. If you see anything like this out there in social media, whatever market bullshit that you're seeing, it's just a lie. So don't buy into it. So I want to be really honest with you and tell you that this stuff takes time. So I'm going to tell you a bit more about this client. So In the past, she had done so many low-calorie diets. And these low-calorie diets worked well every time that she tried them until she got to her late 40s and they just stopped working, right? So this is really common. Like I said earlier, too, the stuff might work, quote unquote work. You might lose weight really quickly the first couple of times you do those diets. But once you get to those late 40s and beyond, your stress levels are higher naturally in your body, and you just don't respond as well. You don't handle that stress that comes with dieting as well. So you're not going to get the same results. And a lot of times you actually go in the opposite direction, start gaining some. Now, she was also intermittent fasting daily, which was recommended to her by her healthcare practitioner, I guess. But it definitely didn't serve her. Her cortisol was already really high, and you don't want to throw intermittent fasting on a really high cortisol body. Then she was working with practitioners who told her to go on elimination diets and avoid dairy, gluten, and a number of other foods. And at first she was really worried about, can I have this? And is dairy really okay? Is this okay? Like super concerned. Also, when it came to fasting, she was like, when I have a little bit of cream in my coffee, did I break my fast? This is a bad thing. And I'm like, you're not supposed to be fasting at all. Let's stop it. So now she is eating breakfast. She's not waiting until 11 or noon to eat. And also one other thing, she definitely developed lots of food fears and lots of health anxiety from researching every food, every ingredient, and worrying about how they may affect her and also her family. So for example, she would be like, oh my God, I didn't know that nuts are so bad. So I've been giving my kids like a teaspoon of peanut butter every day. Is this something terrible? What have I done now? Researching. And this is just too much. So I really want to make sure that when you listen to this and you find that this kind of describes you, you are very much in the same mindset of like researching everything, worrying about everything, really going really deep into all these health things. You are overthinking it. You're overthinking and you're probably making things worse. You're going to put yourself on this high alert state that is not necessary, which is also what I talked about in this episode 244. When I talked about, approaching things in this panic mindset is not going to get anywhere. It's not going to get you anywhere better. So instead, what are we doing right now? What are the changes that she has been making? So first thing to understand is that you have to start taking care of your body and stop the dieting cycle. So if you've been doing this for years and years, and sometimes, honestly, even decades, constant dieting cycle, it is messing with your body. Don't do it. If you want to heal and if you still have body composition goal, you have to first approach it with the mindset of, I'm going to take care of my body. I'm going to heal my body and I'm going to give it what it needs instead of taking more stuff away from it, instead of taking all the carbs out, instead of avoiding all gluten. That's not to say that maybe, somebody might need to avoid gluten, but this is not so many people actually. So you can think yourself crazy with this stuff, but you have to get yourself off that dieting roller coaster. It is not serving you, and you have to start approaching this with, I'm going to take care of my health, right? The idea here is that you have to start earning your body's trust back, right? So what did we do then with this client? And I'm doing with a lot of other clients too. Now she's eating breakfast around 8 o'clock. She's not waiting until 11 or noon to give herself the permission, air quotes, to eat. It's okay to eat. It's not only okay, but I actually want you to eat sooner than that. If you wake up at 7, why are you waiting until 11? No, you should be eating within that first 60 minutes, roughly, right? Again, here too, it's not like, oh my God, hour, 10 minutes, panic. No, not like this, but on average, within 30 to 60 minutes, eat something, right? Another change that she started implementing is now she's eating 4 meals a day. 4 meals a day. So not like going tons of I don't know how many hours between meals or trying to skip lunch so she can have better, larger dinner or whatever. None of that. So 4 decent, normal sized meals. The next change, all meals and even snacks for her are focused around protein. Very, very, very important to understand that. And she says that as a result, her cravings are way down. Like she used to want all the sweet things, but now it's like she can kind of look at them and be like, yeah, I can have it, I cannot have it. I feel fine either way, right? And that's, obviously sometimes we have stronger cravings and urges to eat something sweet, and that's fine. But the change is tremendous. She doesn't feel like she has to like she doesn't have this intensity around food, right? Now, the next thing, she's lifting weights 3 days a week. She started with dumbbells and is soon getting started with barbells because she is kind of outgrowing the weights that she has right now. She has come a long way. At first, it was kind of difficult for her to even take that time as a mom to take care of herself and set aside that little bit of time for her workouts. But now she's doing it and she's seeing the benefits of it. So most weeks she's working out 3 days a week with dumbbells. She has not gone to the gym. She's working out at home. And like I said, soon she's going to get a barbell set up, probably 2, so she can kind of lift a little bit heavier even in the future. Then what I really want to emphasize is that it took many, many months until she started seeing real progress. It was around month 4 when her body started to really show some change. And this is a complete opposite of what you see in most diet programs, which are like 2 weeks and 10 pounds down, BS like that. No, it took her a while because the body was in a really compromised state and didn't want to let go of much at all at first. So she kept at it. And later she actually told me that had she known, and this is very important, had she known at first how long it's going to take to start seeing results, she said, I may not have signed up, right? Had I known at first how much it takes to start seeing results, I may not have signed up. But she did. For some reason, I don't know, gut feeling, whatever it was, she did sign up. And now she's saying that this has been the healthiest and most sustainable way to lose body fat. The healthiest and most sustainable way to lose body fat. So like I said, a long history with crash diets. Every time lost something until she didn't anymore. So there had to be this long reparation healing process. And now she's getting the results. So let's talk about some numbers as well. So I'm going to tell you the smallest part of waist. I'm going to tell you the belly button, hip measurements, all that. So her smallest part of waist, when she started, she was 37 inches there, and now it's 31. And this has taken time. Like I said, the first 4 months, the progress was very slow, but then it really started to accelerate. Now it's been over a year. Around her belly button, it was 38 and a half. Now it's 34 and a half. Her chest measurement was 39.75. Now it's 36 and a half. And her hips have gone from 42 to 39 inches. Plus, she has also lost from her thighs, arms, and calves. The messages that I just told you about, when she was coming home from church and she texted me, it's like, I'm wearing this cute romper that I never thought I would wear. Last year I was hiding all day or like all summer. And then later when she said my bikini bottoms just literally fell off, these messages have she sent me those messages about a year after being very consistent with these changes that I just told you about. Eating high protein, eating breakfast, lifting weights. Now, that doesn't mean that you cannot get results sooner. As mentioned, she started seeing results around 4 months in because there was a lot of repairing work to do at first, but the really noticeable and sustainable results took longer. But as you see in her words, this has been the most sustainable because she can see herself continuing it. It's basically just the simple things. Lots of protein every meal, live 3 days a week, stop freaking dieting, right? And that's what it is. It really boils down to that. Now, the question is, can you be consistent with it? Or are you going to chase the next shiny object? That's like somebody threw a post up on Instagram or, I don't know, some kind of marketing, like, Google knows what you're searching. And then it's pushing some stuff in front of your eyes. Hey, you want to sign up for this? Hey, you want to sign up for this? Here's a diet book. Are you trying to catch these shiny objects? Because if you are, you're going to be stuck in this cycle. And you're always going to think that everything has to be so instant and so fast. And let me get results by yesterday. I always like to say that. It doesn't work that way. So what are the most common diets? You probably already know, or you probably have even experienced them or messed around with them, tried them. But I want to say that there are many diets that are just focused heavily on calorie restriction. And then there's some diets that are super popular that are cutting out some specific nutrients or food groups. But what they all do, what's all common to them is that they are all just so extreme. And she has tried many of them too. So I want to just list some of them that people typically try. So those who are really calorie restricted diets, for example, intermittent fasting goes here. I know that intermittent fasting isn't necessarily a diet, but I mean, I feel like it's in the same bucket with diets because, the goal is a lot of times, I know there are some health benefits for some people, but it's not for as many people as actually using it. But intermittent fasting, what it essentially does, it just makes the eating window very, very small. So if your eating window is only 6 hours or 8 hours, of course, you're not going to get in too many calories because you don't want to eat, tons of calories at once. So you just eat less and you're like, oh, my eating window closed. So I guess we're not going to eat now anymore. And your calories just end up too low. And this is how you lose weight. It's nothing else. It's just calorie restriction. That's what it is. But a lot of times it tends to be very it elevates your cortisol because going so long between your meals, I definitely don't recommend it because most people are already very kind of dominant. They have like lots of cortisol, lots of high stress lifestyle. So if you throw intermittent fasting on it, if you already have tons of hormonal issues, it is not going to serve you well. Trust me. Now, another one is just general low calorie diets. So what I see like between 1200, 1500. I don't think this is anybody's actual true needs. Well, I'll take that back. Not anybody's, but most people need more because if you're also working out, you need more. 1500 calories consistently is very low, not to mention 1200, not to mention 1000. Even if you're in a slight calorie deficit, but you're there all the time, even if it's just a couple of hundred less than your actual needs, you are still under eating and you shouldn't be under eating all the time. So all the low calorie diets are also, if you do them in the long term, they're going to be harmful. You can't do them all the time. That's why I have emphasized so much on this podcast too, that if you go into a fat loss phase, obviously you have to reduce your calories, but it is only for a certain period of time. It's not going to be forever. That's the difference here. Because yeah, I take my clients into a deficit all the time, right? Well, not all the time, but you get what I mean, right? Every time when we need that fat loss. But it's going to be like 8 weeks to 12 weeks. It's not going to be ongoing like 30 years, right? So that's the difference here. Now, other ways to create this calorie restriction is going on a very low carb or keto diet. When you cut out the entire food or macronutrient group, obviously it's going to cut your calories low. So probably that's the reason why you're losing weight. It's not that carbs make you fat. No, it's not the carbs. It's the total calories that matter. But if you just take out like all the carbs, you're taking out a huge chunk of calories. And that's why you're losing fat. Now, I'm not going to get into all these details why low carb is bad for most women. Like I mentioned, a couple of things. Thyroid function suffers a lot. Adrenal function suffers a lot too. Liver eventually. And if you do keto low carb, you are going to put yourself in a place of like losing a lot of sodium. You're going to feel really tired. You're not going to get sodium. So this is definitely not what you want to practice long term. Also, not too good energy for your workouts, lots of sleep issues. Well, now I still ended up talking about why I don't recommend low carb and keto. But this is very common, and I just want to caution you that you don't do that. All right, and then there are some diets that are just really heavily focused on cutting out a food group or a macronutrient group. Well, low carb and keto goes here as well. But there are also things like low fat, which is not very popular anymore, but definitely was maybe like 2 decades ago. And that even to this day, I actually have a couple of clients who come to me eating like 40 grams of fats. I'm like, you know what, we really need to increase that because your body doesn't handle this very well. Your body is deficient. It needs fat. And by the way, it also needs animal fat. Yes, it does. So we need animal fat too in our diets for normal hormone production, for certain minerals stay balanced in the body. And there's some things we can only get from animal sources. Other nutrient restrictions, for example, carnivore. So just mentioned, yes, animal products are great, meats are great, but if we go just pure carnivore and eat only meat, this is very, very limiting, very, very restrictive. And of course, we are missing out on so many important nutrients. We can't get everything from meat. We just can't, right? So where are you going to get your fiber? People might say, no, you don't need that. And I've seen even post on social media where somebody like flushes down the toilet like a entire bag of leafy greens and calls it just a bullshit, right? It's not. That's another extreme. Like the common theme here is really extreme. So you don't have to do that. This is too much. We need a good balance of everything, right? We need meats, we need animal fats, we need animal protein, we need eggs and milk, and we also need vegetables, and we absolutely need fruit, right? We need a mix of things. This is how most of us are designed. And of course, there is always individual variance. Some people do better with, different ratios than other. Some people might do fairly well in a pescatarian diet, fine. But if we go like super extreme in any direction, I don't think that this is a good idea. It causes a lot of damage. And also what I would put in this like nutrient restriction diets is vegan, vegetarian even. So when we eating only mostly plant-based, then we're just going to fill our bodies with lots and lots of fiber, which is definitely hard on our digestive system. And these diets tend to be very high on carbohydrates and extremely low in protein. Protein is not only important for muscle building, it's not only important for blood sugar either. Protein is there, like protein has so many functions. And I don't think people fully understand that this is not just like aesthetics thing. This is a health thing to get enough protein. And there's a lot of health issues that can come from not having enough protein in your food. So if you're only plant-based and eating these high fiber foods, and I think it's even worse if you eat them raw, because that's going to be extra hard to digest, then this is a very out of balance diet. And we should not be doing this. I think most people at least do not benefit from it. Again, if you feel better one way or the other, you're leaning towards like tons of vegetables, so you're, there's always, you have to find your sweet spot. But I will say that don't make anything super extreme. Don't be like, I'm not eating any carbs at all. I'm not eating any meat at all. I'm not eating any green vegetables at all because this, and this, and this. There's this like idea that we want to put ourselves in the box. We want to kind of like belong. And people can get very, very defensive about their like specific way of like, I'm carnivore, that's the best, or I'm vegan, that's the best. Why can't we just like take a step back and see, okay, like, is this thing balanced that I'm trying to do? Why do I feel so strong that I have to be in this box? Why do I feel like this is almost like my identity? Why do I need this? Because I feel like a lot of time that's what it is. So I would say anything that is extreme is probably going to be unhealthy for you. If you do it for a short period of time, not as much, but always the longer you do it, the more harmful, I guess, it really becomes, because you're going to start seeing nutrient deficiencies. You're going to start seeing severe mineral deficiencies as well, which is something that I'm actually learning more right now. I'm going through a mineral kind of course to learn how to understand the body better and how to balance the minerals so that we can have healthier life. So it's been really interesting, and I'm definitely going to share more when I am through this course. So instead of doing anything extreme, we have to come back to the idea of taking care of our body and healing our body. So coming back to the beginning of this podcast, where I shared this one client's story, how things have been for her. And as you see, we stopped doing any like time restriction as far as like, we're not intermittent fasting. We stopped doing any nutrient restriction. We're including all 3 macronutrients, including carbohydrates, right? We're not worrying about every single ingredient like obsessively. It's unnecessary. So why don't we just focus on putting together a balanced plate, eating this way most of the time, and eating fiber, eating protein, eating fat, eating something sweet here and there. If you feel like it, eating fruit, right? Fruit is such a big demon, and it's not. Eating all of the things in moderation, and we're going to be fine. We're going to be better. And of course, if we want to have a weight loss, fat loss goal, we have to at some point go into a calorie deficit. But that doesn't mean that it has to happen through some kind of extreme approach. It only means that we're still eating a variety of things, still the same proteins, fats, and carbs and fiber, but we're just going to eat a little bit less of them, right? So that the calories go down while trying to keep the protein as high as possible. So this is always important. So we're going to go into calorie deficit. But like I said before, we're going to go there for about like 8 to 12 weeks. And then we take a break and then we can repeat. It's not like ongoing, 3 years long intermittent fasting combined with keto. Like this is a really unhealthy approach in my opinion. And I see that it gets people in a lot of trouble. Okay, this is it. That's all I have for you today. I hope it really got you thinking, first of all, about the time that is needed for sustainable results. I hope it helped you understand why patience is so freaking important, and also understand that if you are able to have this balanced approach, you're going to get better results. Now, if you like this episode, please subscribe to this channel, whether you watch this on YouTube or listen through a podcast app, please subscribe. This is super helpful. And if you found this podcast helpful, this is the least you can do. I would really, really appreciate it because that helps me to reach more people. And of course, feel free to send this episode to your friends or family or even clients if you are somebody who's working with people who need to hear this message. All right, this is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.